Hi, this is Praveen. Now, let us start the discussion on Indian freedom struggle. In part 1 of Journey of Indian Freedom Struggle, we have covered the topics from the 1857 revolt to the 1919 Jallianwala Bagh massacre. And in this video, we will cover the events that were happened after the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. So, now we will start with the Khilafat and non-cooperation movement. In this Khilafat and non-cooperation movement, we had three predominant demands for these both movements. Let's look at them. The first demand for both of these movements are the first one is all about the independence for India and Turkey. After the end of World War I, the Turkey, which was at the time called as the Ottoman Empire, was collapsed. After the collapse of Ottoman Empire in World War I, we have the British powers, the Italian power, and the French power. They together occupied the Ottoman Empire. And when they occupied, at the same time, India was also under the control of Britain. And the Indians, they have supported two Turks to fight against the Britishers. That is the reason why these two movements are friendly with each other and these two are similar to each other. And the second demand was all about the Punjab Bronx. What is this Punjab Bronx? As per this Punjab Bronx, it is nothing but the Punjab Bronx was happened as a demand because of the reason that the wrong decisions were being taken by the Punjab provincial government after the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, which is not necessary for the Indian freedom. And that was the second demand which was made by these two movements. And the final demand is all about the establishment of Swaraj. What is this Swaraj? Swaraj is nothing but controlling a territory in which the inhabitants they wanted to control those territory. And what was in this establishment of Swaraj? The Indians they wanted to control over India and they have to overthrow the Britishers. So these three are the important demands for this Khilafat and non-cooperation movement. And now let's look at the techniques that were used by these two movements. So firstly, at the initial stage, that is before when Mahatma Gandhi entered into this non-cooperation movement, we have the boycotting as the predominant source. What is this boycotting? In this boycotting, the Indians they have boycotted few British goods, the British cloths, the government schools, colleges, etc. And at the stage when Mahatma Gandhi came, which we call as the final stage, in this final stage, we use the non-violence, ahimsa and satyagraha as the predominant sources for this Indian independence. And now let us start discussing what is this Khilafat movement and what is this non-cooperation movement. In this Khilafat movement, Indians and Turks they wanted independence and they fought against the Britishers, but the Khilafat movement was that is the reason why Khilafat movement was started. And next in this non-cooperation movement, as per this non-cooperation movement, as the name suggests, the Indians they said they would not cooperate with the Britishers. That is how this movement got non-cooperation movement as its name. And after that, now let's look at the Chauri Chaura incident, which is the cause to decline of non-cooperation movement. How it became a cause? This Chauri Chaura incident was happened in 1922. It was happened in a village named Chauri Chaura in Uttar Pradesh. And the angry Indians in this village of Chauri Chaura, they have killed and fired a police station in which there were 22 police officers. And when they killed, the Mahatma Gandhi was actually following the principle of ahimsa. But in this case, the principle that was happening was violence. That's why Mahatma Gandhi, he wanted to stop this violence. That's why he has to stop this non-cooperation movement. That is the reason for the decline of this non-cooperation movement. It is also about the Chauri Chaura incident. Next, let's look at the Simon Commission of 1928. This Simon Commission is to explore the constitutional advance across India. That means the Britishers they wanted to enhance their territory in India to control over the large portion of India. And this Simon Commission was boycotted by the Indians because of the reason that there was no Indian representation in this Simon Commission. There was no Indian representation, that's why the Indians boycotted. After this Simon Commission, now let's go to the Nehru's report of 1928. As per this Nehru's report, the Indians they had the initial efforts to frame the Indian Constitution. And when this Indian Constitution was framed, few important topics that were covered by Nehru's report are the topics like the 19 fundamental rights, we have the universal adult franchise, and we also had the two constituent assemblies, etc. And after this Nehru's report, now let's look at an association which is called as the HSRA. And it was in the year 1929. HSRA was started by Chandrasekhar Azad in Delhi in the year 1929, and the HSRA stands for Hindustan Socialist Republican Association. It was one of the famous associations. It was a revolutionary association, and the important events that were included in this HSRA are: the first one is Bhagat Singh's. In this Bhagat Singh's incident, what was happened was that the one of the famous Indian freedom fighter Bhagat Singh, along with his friend R.K. Dutt, they have won a bomb on the Central Legislative Assembly of the Britain, and that was the first time the Indians they had bombed against the Britishers. And after that, in 1929 itself, we have the bomb on the Viceroy's train, which was running in the Delhi. The Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, and Sukhdev, they have won a bomb on the Viceroy's train. And after these two incidents, we have in 1931 the Chandrasekhar Azad's death by a police officer who has killed Chandrasekhar Azad, and then Bhagat Singh's, Rajguru, and Sukhdev's hanging by the Britishers. Britishers they have hanged to death Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, and Sukhdev. And these are the important events of Hindustan Socialist Republican Association. Next, let's go to the civil disobedience movement. This civil disobedience movement was also started by Mahatma Gandhi, and in this movement, what was happened was the Indians they said that they won't cooperate with the Indian British laws. The Britishers were imposing few laws in India like the salt tax, which means the tax on salt for buying or purchasing a salt. And in this non-cooperation movement, we have the Indians they said not to cooperate with the Britishers. And in this civil disobedience movement, the Indians said they won't cooperate with the British laws. And the important movement under this civil disobedience movement was the Dandi March. In this Dandi March, Dandi was a city that was situated in the sea coast of the Arabian Sea in Gujarat, and it was 240 miles away from Sabarmati Ashramam. And Mahatma Gandhi he has broken the salt law in the protest of Dandi March, and it includes Mahatma Gandhi, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, the Sarojini Naidu, including the 72 followers of Mahatma Gandhi. And in this Dandi March, it was broken the salt law. And after when this salt law was broken, the Britishers they have arrested the important freedom fighters of India like Jawaharlal Nehru, Mahatma Gandhi, the Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, etc. And after when they went to jail, the salt law was broken during this Dandi March. That is the reason why Dandi March is also called as the Salt Satyagraha. This Dandi March was happened in 1930. In 24 days, Mahatma Gandhi has walked 240 miles along with his 72 followers. And now let's get into the World War II. In this World War II, it includes many movements which were happened during World War II. Now let's look at them. So, at the early World War II, what was present was the Britishers, they were losing their power, and due to that reason, the Britishers, they wanted help from India. And when they wanted help from India, the Congress responds, and the Congress, Indian National Congress, opposed the Britishers in giving help for the Britishers. And it was in the year 1939. And after this, we have the another important one. In 1940, we have the Pakistan Resolution. In this Pakistan Resolution, in 1940 Muslim League session of Lahore, the Muhammad Ali Jinnah, he wanted the Pakistan as a separate country which should be divided from India, and it should form as Pakistan, which we call it as the Pakistan Resolution. And after this, in 1942, we have the Quit India movement. In this Quit India movement, Mahatma Gandhi gave a popular slogan, "Go, do or die." And the Britishers, they have arrested the Indian freedom fighters for the last time. And Jawaharlal Nehru has been arrested in this Quit India movement for his ninth time. And after this Quit India movement, in this Quit India movement, the Britishers, most of the Britishers, they arrested the Indian freedom fighters. And after that, in 1942 itself, we have few revolutionary organizations that were formed outside India, like the Government Indian Independence League, which was formed by Ras Bihari Bose in 1942 at Tokyo. And we also have the Indian Independence League formed by Ras Bihari Bose in Tokyo. And after that, we have the formation of Indian National Army, which we will discuss when we go to the Subhash Chandra Bose and Indian National Army. And continuing this World War II, we have the 1944 C. Rajagopalachari Rajagopalachari's formula. In this Rajagopalachari's formula, what was this Rajagopalachari's formula? This formula is nothing but the Muslim League, they have to cooperate with interim government until when India gets independence. That is what this Rajagopalachari's formula is. And after that, in 1945, we have the Wavell's plan. As per this Wavell's plan, the Indian Constituent Assembly, the Central Executive of India, it should comprise of 40% Hindus, 40% Muslims, and the remaining 20% should be minorities. That is what this Wavell's plan is. And after that, after the end of World War II in 1945, we have the formation of interim government in the year 1946. The Prime Minister of this interim government was the Jawaharlal Nehru, and it was the important events happened during the World War II. So, one of the famous events that was happened was the Purna Swaraj. Purna Swaraj is nothing but the self-independence. The Indians, they have declared the independence for Indians in the year 1930 and in the date January 22nd. That is the reason why we celebrate Republic Day on January 26th. And after that, the Indians, they have declared the Purna Swaraj. So, that is for the first time the Indians have hosted the Indian flag in the INC session of Lahore in 1930 under the presidencyship of Jawaharlal Nehru. So, it was Purna Swaraj of 1930. And these are the events that were happened during the World War II. And after this, now let's go to the Subhash Chandra Bose and Indian National Army. Firstly, let's start discussing about the Subhash Chandra Bose. Subhash Chandra Bose. Subhash Chandra Bose was popularly called as Netaji, and he was born on 1897 January 23rd and he was died on 1945 August 18th. And this was the dates of Subhash Chandra Bose, and he formed an army named Indian National Army at the Tokyo, and he had close relationships, the friendly relationships between Germany, which is situated in Europe, and also with Japan. And both this Japan and Germany, they were participating at the same side in World War II as the Axis powers, as we all know. And in the year 1942, the Indian National Army was formed, as we have discussed, during World War II, and it was formed at Tokyo by Subhash Chandra Bose. And in this 1942, the Subhash Chandra Bose, he formed INA, and in 1943, he gave a popular slogan, "Give me the blood, I will give you freedom." And this slogan was given by Subhash Chandra Bose in 1943. And in 1944, he has given another slogan, "Chalo Delhi." And after that, in the year 1944 itself, the Subhash Chandra Bose has recognized Mahatma Gandhi as the father of the nation. And that is the reason why we call Mahatma Gandhi as father of the nation. And in 1945, the Japanese army, they have came until the Myanmar's border with India. That means they have occupied the complete Southeast Asia. And when they came to this Myanmar's border with India, the Subhash Chandra Bose and the Japanese army, they have fought against the Britishers, but they lost. And after when they lost, on August 15th of 1945, the Japanese, they have surrendered to the Allied powers. The Axis powers have surrendered to the Allied powers. And on August 18th of 1945, the Subhash Chandra Bose was died in a mysterious air crash at Taipei, which is the capital city of Taiwan, which we have discussed in East Asia region. And He was died in Taipei. His death was mysterious because of the fact that his dead body was not found in that crash. So, it is about the Subhash Chandra Bose and the Indian National Army. Next, let's go after the 1945 until 1947. So, first, let's begin with the Mountbatten's plan. Of 1947. This Mountbatten was the Viceroy of India during the 1947 and he has given this on March. In this Mountbatten's plan, the important thing to note, when the India and Pakistan were partitioned, then the Bengal government and the Punjab government, they have to decide and take the decision on partition. And the Sindh government has to take its own decision to join with Pakistan or India. And after that, the another important thing in Mountbatten's plan is, if two countries were partitioned, then two constituent assemblies should be formed. And this is all about the Mountbatten's plan. And this was a democratic constitutional plan for the Indians and also for the Pakistanis. But before this Mountbatten's plan, we have the Cabinet Mission Plan. That was happened on 1946 December 9th and 11th. This Cabinet Mission Plan was started in 1946 December 9th and 11th, and under this Cabinet Mission Plan, the Constituent Assembly was formed by this Cabinet Mission Plan, and the elections that have been taken place for electing the members of Constituent Assembly, and there should be only 299 members in Indian Constituent Assembly. But if India and Pakistan both were united, there must be 389 seats, 389 members for the Constituent Assembly. And in this Cabinet Mission Plan, the important thing to recognize is that Mahatma Gandhi is the only freedom fighter who did not participate in this Cabinet Mission Plan or in the Constituent Assembly. And after that, after Mountbatten's plan, next go to the next one, that is the India Independence Act. Of 1947, July 18. In this India Independence Act, the Britishers, they have declared India would gain its independence on August 15th of 1947 and Pakistan would gain its independence on 1947 August 14th. And after 4 days of declaring the Indian Independence Act, that is on 1947 July 22nd, we have the Indian national flag that was adopted by the Indians. And in July 22nd of every year, we celebrate the National Flag Adoption Day. And finally, in 1947, August 15th, India gained independence. India became independent. So, like that, from starting with 1600s East India Companies trading with India, the Britishers, they have started conquering India until 1857. And after that, in 1947, they have declared independence for India. So, this is all about the journey of Indian freedom struggle. I am proud of the Indian freedom fighters, and they given the independence for India, and they have struggled until 1947, since 1922, through the process of non-violence. Jai Hind. Thank you.